All right, man. I just want to speak about, let me highlight the Transformers community real quick about this Galvatrons revenge thing, and especially the connotations and the people that are behind this film and stuff, and what they're purposely were trying to do, and what the objective, ramifications of what they were attempting to normalize in our community. And I gotta, before we talk about the movie itself, I just want to speak to the community and say that the Transformers community across the board, both on a acclaim level and level of just like, solidarity with marginalized people speaking out, and, people that just objectively don't want nothing to do with this far right, far right white supremacist way of thinking. Shout out to all y'all for, holding your ground against these people and disallowing them to participate in our community. And for the express purpose of this video, I must say that I'm not driving. So what I want to talk about is Galvatron's Revenge, which was a fan film made by, I believe it's Primetime Animations. That was a continuation of the computer-generated animated series Transformers Prime, which aired between 2010 and 2011 as a replacement for Transformers Animated, because Hasbro wanted something that that fit into the line continuity and that matched the live action movies, which just aired by Michael Bay. So Transformers Prime came in and gave us basically a modern day Beast Wars, if you will, with stories about tragedy, very somber and epic music from the TV series, and just head banging and mind blowing action for what actually went on and what actually happened in this show and what have you. So, that's what this was a continuation to, because a lot of people objectively say that they don't like Transformers Robots in the Sky 2015. So this fan film started being made, I believe probably through, I never knew about it because I really didn't give a damn, but through a crowdfunding effort. Yeah, we could just get straight to the point. I think that this film probably didn't start out as a way for white supremacists and hyper partisan political people to infiltrate the Transformers community. I just believe the politics of these people changed over time. And slowly as we went through the world changing and stuff like that, and certain ideas unfortunately being normalized, it was just something that so happened to happen, and something that so happens to be a bad outcome. So the voice of this in this movie, as we know, is Optimus Prime. And I feel like everybody that worked with knew about this. The Primetime Animations guy included. They're all neo-Nazis and white supremacists. I'm sorry. If there's 9 people at a table and a Nazi sits down, nobody objects or says anything, you have 10 Nazis, or whatever number you want to use. Because this dude named Orbital Bacon has like 1488. He has SS bolts in his profile and stuff like that. And what these people attempt to do, and they've been doing for the past couple of years to different I'm sure like the general anime community, for people that like My Hero Academia or Demon Slayer, for tabletop gaming like Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, especially Magic the Gathering. This has been a problem with Magic the Gathering probably since it came out. And also Pokemon and stuff like that too. And and even sports, music, and video games. People try to normalize these ideas. People like quartering and Synthetic Man making all type of far right nonsense, objectifying and trying to dunk on marginalized people and say that there's something wrong with this group of people. This game is woke because of this and what have you. And what these people try to do is they try to find vulnerable people, or spaces with vulnerable people, spaces with I'm a self-proclaimed one too, with a lot of nerds. A lot of nerds are very angry people who don't understand what they went through and don't understand, they want to how to process their trauma, especially young men nerds. So a lot of these dudes can easily fall into lashing out at other people, trying to feel strong, starting to try to feel like they claim their masculinity back, and they're vulnerable to fascist and white supremacist talking points. So these people will purposely position themselves in spaces with a lot of vulnerable men with possibly dealing with mental illness or other problems, because they know that a lot of men are vulnerable to fascist talking points between I want to say the ages of about 13 to 25 until people really develop empathy skills. Not to say that there's no fascists over 25, but the point being is that people in that age demographic, especially after spending a lot of dealing with a lot of ostracization and bullying in high school, and probably loneliness from the loneliness epidemic when it comes to dating and finding a relationship, they prey on these people and try to teach them that the world is against them because they're white, the world is against them because they're men and stuff like that. And before we objectively get finished with this video talking about this, I do consider red pill black men and people like Hebrew Israelites white supremacists too, because they objectively want the same conclusion. If not white supremacists themselves, at least fascist or fascist adjacent. And I wanted to get to something about, what we should do in this situation, but everybody's been doing it. Everybody's been canning the movie. People have been like downvoting it. People have been making fun of it. People, have, not accepted this person into, our community. And, I gotta say, among all the other communities, I think the only really ones that I have between skateboarding, because punk is hanging on by a thread, because a lot of people say punk is just being a malicious asswipe and not actually have any values or left-wing political predilections that prevent you from becoming a member of the status quo or a corporatist. Contrarianism is not necessarily punk rock, but that's a whole nother topic for another time. And and we must always oppose, and I'm gonna get to the crux of what I want to talk about, these people infiltrating groups, because it's always a chance that when these people infiltrate groups that it turns into a cesspool of white supremacist hatred. It turns into a cesspool of people saying slurs and having profile pictures and profile animations of white supremacist memorabilia and stuff like that. And these people don't really care about arguing or being objectively right or wrong, but they care about is making people uncomfortable and wasting their time. Because a lot of these people at the end of the day too, when they're making these stupid arguments, they're like laughing. They're literally like, this person got so mad when I posted this picture of Hitler and Martin Luther King and saying they both cared about a lot about race, but they're saying that there's hypocrisy, how Martin Luther King is a hero, but Hitler isn't. They're laughing when they say that shit. They know all their arguments are logically wrong. They know all their arguments can be easily disproven. The point of these arguments is not to objectively prove something right or wrong. The point of these arguments is to make people uncomfortable as possible and to excise marginalized people from these groups. And while this might seem like a little annoying on the surface, I feel like all the moderators across any platform, not just Transformers or TFW or Sabertron or whatever, everybody has to do their part to make sure that these people don't normalize their hatred and their misanthropic views about how society really works. You got to kick these people out. You got to ban them, because these people, again, they don't care about objective fact. Because you have people that will have 1488 in their profile pic, and they'll be like, bro, how are numbers racist? And they know the political connotations behind those numbers, what they're representing, but they are playing stupid, not because they objectively don't know or disagree, or because their birthday is January 4th, 1988. 90% of the time, most of these people are active white supremacists that are trying to normalize their appearance in, different communities. Oh, like if my name is like Gundam 1488 with SS bolts and stuff like that, it's obvious what I'm saying. It's obvious, what I'm worshiping. And before I get out of this truck, I want to talk about two more things. And I might link this video in the description, but this K and Skittles video I watched a couple days ago. I probably watched it like last year when I discovered their channel. But, this thing has been sticking in my head, is that white supremacy and neo-Nazism does not just cause marginalized people to lose. The biggest losers are white people, because these people, keep in mind, want to promote terrorists. These people are not just generically people that you disagree with on the internet, and again, objectively, that you can prove right or wrong. They're trying to spread hate and ignorant views about very complex social problems, which leads to people acting out in violence and stuff. So if we're talking about the criminality of Black people, they don't want a nuanced discussion about the social and economic factors that lead to high crime in the Black community. They want to normalize demonizing Black people or Jews or LGBT folks. They don't want to, or women especially. And it's a shame because, as somebody who's been in the Transformers community a long time, there's a lot of queer people in our community, people that are like actually trans, ironically enough, in the Transformers community. There are huge Transformers fans. And, I don't want to see these people get kicked out or bullied, And I will say this also before I get to my other point, is that we should not normalize bullying in our community because a lot of us have faced it before. Why would we want to pass that on to other people? We should be better than that. Last but not least, though, is that these people want to normalize not only white supremacist terror on the internet, but this stuff actually does bleed out in person. Look at the stuff that happened in New York. Look at the 2 times that happened in El Paso, and that, things that have happened all over the country, like in that church with those Black people and stuff like that with Dylan Roof. This stuff comes out and it actually hurts people. People get unalive. People lose loved ones and stuff like that. Like a Black person or Jewish person or Arab or LGBT person shouldn't lose their life because some psychopath read some BS on the internet about this or that. We can't keep letting this happen because we already have an epidemic of gun violence in America, and these white supremacist viewpoints contribute to that gun violence. And Black and other marginalized people have to constantly deal with this cycle of violence, and it's about time that we all, not even just white people, do our part to stop the cycle of violence against women, marginalized people in general. We all do our part. We reject these views and we don't allow them to fester, because you want to know who the greatest, because the antithesis of this is that the greatest victim of white supremacy and neo-Nazism, ironically enough, is white people. Because working class white people gain nothing from a white supremacist and fascist regime taking over America. They gain nothing from acting out, on orders, because like if Orbital Bacon or Jack Posobiec or Nick Fuentes, is, Candace Owens, Kanye West is cited in a Unalivers manifesto, right? They're not going to jail. They're not dying. They don't have to stand off with the police. But guess who is? That working class white person is going to prison for the rest of their life. That working class white person is going to get stripped of their rights. Their union organizers unalived or stripped of their power. That's who loses under white supremacy the most, is ironically enough, is white people. Well, don't get me wrong, marginalized people also lose too. But even white people that disagree with them, like, are you a conservative? You just believe in quote unquote limited government? And don't get me wrong, I still believe conservatism is a precursor to neo-Nazi way of thinking, especially here in America. But if you just believe in limited government, you love the police because your dad was a sheriff or whatever, you might want to, speak out against this, because if they come get all the marginalized people, they get the leftists, the socialists, communists, and anarchists, they come for the centrist liberals, they're coming for the conservatives that disagree with them next. So yeah, good job everybody for rejecting this movie. And let's not allow these, this on a surface level bullying to be normalized in the community. I'm sure of so many people that dealt with it themselves. Thanks for watching if you watched this.